Samhita, welcome to the winning team. Thank you so much for agreeing for this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Igal, for the opportunity. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes. So first of all, about this series, so we really want to bring to light the work you and our amazing classmates are doing in real world, in the actual companies, in actual opportunities and challenges for leadership, for talent development, all of it. We study about those things, but we actually full-time implementing.
Yeah, exactly.
So the most important part is really to bring it to life, stories, key takeaways that others can benefit from, whether those young MBAs, mid-career MBAs, or leaders in general that would love to know how to lead, what are those challenges and how we can overcome those challenges, and especially how the human power skills come into the play.
Right.
Communication, creativity. So these are the topics we are going to unlock a little bit through the conversation, and
awesome.
it will be great to hear from you, from your experience, extensive experience, how those play out. So maybe before we start, if you could share a little bit about yourself, your background, your role.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I'm Samhita. I'm basically a director at PwC within the data analytics and AI practice. Have over 15 years of experience working anything from data warehousing to reporting to analytics, and now we're talking so much about AI. So a lot of experience, especially working with financial services clients. And the funny thing is I actually started as a BI developer at Oracle. That kind of piqued my interest towards, mainly more towards analytics, and that kind of made my way into consulting, and that's how I'm here today. So it's been a very fruitful journey, and glad for all the opportunities, and glad that we are sharing this platform with so many of our classmates who are doing such wonderful things. So looking forward to it. Yeah.
Amazing. It brings so much experience across different domains of knowledge, different contexts, and it will be great to unlock for our viewers. First of all, we are here to share insights from what we call winning teams. Teams that have had those capabilities or have those capabilities to really win consistently over time. If you can share with us a winning team that you would like to dive a little deeper into and really share some of those experiences.
No, yeah, for sure. I think one of the things I really like about consulting is you're actually working on different projects at different times, and each client brings their own challenges. So I'm constantly learning, essentially, and I see that as a common theme across my teammates as well. So the teams that I bring in, have that common thirst for knowledge, right? Everybody is very innovative. Everybody wants to learn new things. And I think for me, a winning team is somebody, or it's a team that basically is collaborative, and there's that open door policy in terms of trusting each other, right? Because I've seen a lot of times when the teams come together, you initially have that hesitation to trust each other. But as a leader, I think it becomes our role even more critical that we are able to kind of build and foster that relationship, empower everybody in our team that they're able to actually successfully contribute. So I think a winning team's formula for me is very simple. Make sure it's a collaborative team. Everybody's curious to learn new things. Adaptability in consulting, I think adaptability and agility is so critical. So I've often seen people who are really successful in consulting have some of these common traits, and definitely the winning teams that I work with, I mean, obviously every team I work with is great, but the common themes I've seen is agility, collaboration, the trust in each other, and then obviously the thirst to learn. So I think these are some of the common themes I've seen across the years that have made teams very successful.
It's a great insight. So we all, and of course, in our own companies, we help also others, right, to build those skills, to build those experiences. If you can share a little bit about your own journey or journey of others who really build those skills over time, right? You mentioned some of the most important qualities, how you build trust, how you become agile, how you really become very, very collaborative and open for new experiences and new ideas. And sometimes we are saying these are really, really great qualities, but this is not necessarily something on the technical front, right? These are these qualities, human qualities that require some experience and some skill development. If you would like to share some experiences again from your own journey of building those skills, and maybe for other people as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and that's part of the reason I didn't touch upon the technical skill set, because I think those are the skill sets you can easily learn. You can get certified, you can, maybe have some courses, and then you have those skill set. I think it's where the people skill set, the people management skill set, and the soft skills is where I feel each member kind of brings that unique skill set. And I've been fortunate where I've had mentors who basically, as I was, continuing my journey from a developer to a consultant to a manager, senior manager, director, that I've always had mentors who basically gave me very candid feedback. And it was always an open door policy with them. And that is something I foster in my team as well. That's how I mentor women in my team, because I've often seen sometimes women are a minority in such settings, and a lot of people, especially coming out of grad college or undergrad, they are a little hesitant to speak up in such environments. And I feel empowering such voices, such minorities, just giving the opportunity to everybody to kind of speak up, I think makes a huge difference, right? So that kind of builds a trust in the team, that kind of helps you kind of mentor your team members. And I think a lot of it comes from the experiences I've had, good and bad. Like I've had bad experiences also where I've had leaders not be very open about the mistakes I've made. I think that's the other lesson I've learned, that it's okay to make mistakes as long as, the manager, the leader you're working with is able to guide you through the right path. I believe in leading by example, and that's something I follow through my day-to-day journey as well. And in that process, I mentor people, I empower people to kind of bring out the best in themselves. And it's okay if you make mistakes. Failures are part of success. So I don't look at them as, something that's major, but I think it's part of the learning process. So I think a lot of the learnings I have gotten from my leaders, from, Sloan, obviously, learning so much from each of you, I think that is something I take back to my work every day, and that's been very impactful.
That's great. So psychological safety, right, and the power of feedback. I think this is what you're saying, that there is something there. You should not only be great in providing feedback to others, which is super important, but also making sure that you are really open for feedback and the ability to build the psychological trust that sometimes is just
and that's important, yeah.
Right. So sometimes it's like assume that yes, of course, but there's potentially some consequences, right? So what do you mean? Just trust that it's just a safe conversation. So something can be difficult, like you're saying. It can be on paper looks great, and then how you bring it
implemented, yeah.
How you implement that.
That's where I've seen a lot of teams not do well, because you lose the trust in each other. You don't build that friendship amongst the team members, and those teams become non-functional. And I think that's where failures are the most, right? Because when we go to our clients see that we come in as one strong A team, right? And if each of us individually are not bringing our A team, and that can only come if you're empowering each other and trust in each other. So I think, the psychological safety is like, it's a very, very important thing in teams.
So in the consulting business, what I want to hear from you is actually the effect can be multiplied, whether, on the positive front or more of a barriers if you have, or if you don't have those qualities on the team, so then it will be immediately, will have this,
cascading effect, yeah.
Cascading effect, yes.
Trust of the client. And I've seen that, like, a lot of times if we go into the client meetings, even if you're not prepared, but being upfront about it, being candid about it, and being able to kind of, bring your true self, I think that is what clients really appreciate. And that's something I've encouraged the team also, just be honest, right? Just be honest with yourself. Make sure you're innovative, make sure you're asking the right questions, and be good listeners. Because in client settings, obviously, we want to make sure that, mistakes happen, that's okay. Clients are also people, they understand. But again, we want to show our true selves, right? So that's kind of the differentiating factor, where that's how you build the credibility and that long-term relationship with the client. And that leads to very good, a lot of work, a lot of good opportunities, and good collaboration.
So really great insights. Let's try to tackle another skill, another human skill that is very essential, especially in the era of AI. Of course, you're working in the AI space as well. When pretty much every conventional idea or solution can be replicated, maybe even with more power by AI, which leaves basically the creativity, the ability to go beyond the conventions to the humans who really can bring that capability. AI is not trained on those things, and some claim that AI can be also very creative, maybe more creative than the average person. But of course, like you're saying, it's the human power. That's where it comes into play. Can you share some maybe examples or cases where you saw that really coming through significantly? It's not about the AI, it's really about the humans who come up with those, original ideas or solutions that you know, just the conventional approach would not really deliver the results.
Yeah, I mean, that happens so much, right? Especially one of the questions that clients ask us a lot is, how is AI impacting? How will we benefit from AI? Because people are really trying to grapple the idea that, AI is this revolutionary thing, but what people are failing to understand is there's a huge human component that we cannot forget, right? I'll give you an example, actually. Just a couple of years back, when AI was still becoming a thing, we were working with this major financial client. It's a global ratings company, and we were working with their corporate executive leadership team, and they basically wanted to use AI and automation to basically streamline their OKR process, the objectives and key results, the reporting process. And given it was just the initial POC that we were brought in, obviously stakes were high because it's a big client, and we wanted to kind of build that credibility and long-term relationship. So the team that I brought in with me, basically, even though they were a Microsoft shop, getting the licenses, getting the all the technology, we were building all these models using our PwC tools. But when it came to kind of moving it on the client side, there were a lot of challenges, and there's only so much budget and timeline that you have, right? So I think that's where the human component becomes very critical, because the team was very quick to adapt, and that agility that they showed, they picked up on a lot of open source tools. They were like, okay, let's not wait on the Microsoft tools, right? When is the licensing going to come? So they picked up on these open source tools and built these analytical models to predict a lot of their OKR metrics for future quarters. And the client just loved it, because the client was very appreciative of the fact that we were quick to kind of pivot. And that comes from a human component, right? Like the human thought process behind it, that we are not tied to a particular technology, or we are not tied to a particular tool. Obviously, I think now, if you ask me, it's going to be very different, right? AI is much more powerful, but I'm talking about like 3 years back. But that component of agility and innovation, I think that humans bring, I don't think AI can ever replace that, right? So even today, when clients want to use AI for a lot of different things, the interpretation aspect of it, the analytical aspect of it, is still dependent on the humans. And that's where I think we can bring in that creative difference and make that valuable, because that's when I feel humans truly make an impact. You're not relying on tools or anything. So even though AI is a big boon, especially in so many of our processes, I still feel that humans will continue to evolve in terms of the skill set. And for that reason, I think the base foundational qualities that we discussed are so critical.
Sounds great. Maybe to the next theme. In your summary, I bring the team, right? You refer to, I bring a team that I believe is going to deliver the best results possible for this customer, and then you have some considerations, who is basically the best fit, I'm assuming, for that specific project, for that, who is available, right, and so on and so forth. But now, if we think about the process of like the hiring process, right? I'm assuming when you, or the people in your group, and when you hiring new people, right, new employees across different roles, to what extent you really emphasize or evaluate those skills, right? Because we are saying those skills can be built, those skills, you need to be on the job to kind of start to really see how those apply. Right. But there is the whole process of hiring, the best fit people, right, that can actually, hit the ground running, or they can be really high potential to make a difference when they work with customers. Right. How this process works for you, where you see this applicable in the hiring, recruitment process, essentially.
Yeah, no, I think in recruiting it becomes even more critical, because one, we obviously understand what the demand is of the kind of skill sets. But again, for me, I feel those skill sets are more on the paper, right? So on the resume, if I see, there is a need for somebody with maybe, certain technology skill sets and things like that, obviously those are, absolute necessity. But even more importantly, what we look for in the recruiting process, and we have like a series of questions. PwC conducts a lot of trainings on how you conduct these interviews and things like that. So what becomes more critical is to evaluate the emotional intelligence as well of the person. So when I'm interviewing somebody, I definitely look for those aspects, putting them in scenarios where it's, entirely new or uncomfortable for them, and how they react to it. I think that becomes critical, because in consulting, you're thrown into, very unknown situations almost every day. But the ability of a person, the way I judge, is if they're able to quickly adapt and then kind of find a solution, not a clean solution, but at least is, able to think through the process I think that becomes important, and is able to show that yes, I am open to learning, right? Because at every stage, everybody has to learn. Nobody's perfect. So I think just being able to see that ability to learn and then showing that understanding that, I'll build a team, I'll raise my hand when I need help. Some of these qualities is what I look for when I speak to somebody. So I think recruiting is very critical that way, where some of these, 4 or 5 dimensions are absolutely necessary before I am hiring somebody or giving the go-ahead to somebody.
That's fascinating. So you're saying there is the baseline technical know-how that needs to be there, but this is much more straightforward actually to evaluate, right? Based on credentials, based on experiences.
Yeah.
But then the interview or the process on top of that, actually looking into what you refer to emotional intelligence, right? Basically saying, would this candidate, among others, will be the best fit in terms of being able to adapt, being able to convey, be effective communication, being a great contributor to the team, right, to the culture we build, the openness, to change, right, feedback. So the qualities you foresee that are so essential make the big difference in the actual work. How those come into play when you actually do recruitment, hiring people. So that's really, really fascinating to see how this basically the actual work translates into those qualities that you're looking for.
And one of the other things I do look for is somebody raising their hand for help, right? Because oftentimes as leaders, we are not privy to a lot of the ground level realities, and I need a team that will come to me as soon as, I don't want to say, there's escalation, but rather has that ability to foresee that there are these risks and challenges that are coming forward, and without being scared to raise it to me, right? So I think that's the other piece where I learned it the hard way, where in the process of being perfect, I never went to my seniors or leaders to tell them that this was going wrong. And I think that is where it was a pivotal moment for me, where I realized that you have to raise your hand when you need help, and there's nothing wrong in that. It's not that you're not perfect, but it just means that you're human and it's normal to ask help, and it's a team after all, it's a team effort. So that's the other aspect, I think, in today's world when we go into recruiting, that's the other skills that I look for. Yeah.
That's what you say. So you're saying there is something to the psychological, like internal psychological safety, that it's the expectation is not that you are going to have the answers always, knowing everything, but the expectation is actually for you to be able to sense when you don't know or when it's something uncertainty, surface this uncertainty as early as possible, so we can actually act on this thing, as opposed to saying, look, I'm not sure, I will try to kind of buy some time, and it only can escalate the challenge. Exactly. So there is that quality of being, surfacing those things in advance without being kind of having this baggage of like, but I'm going to look like incompetent by doing this, or maybe not perfectly, doing everything, but then it will escalate. So how you do that properly?
Yeah, and especially in client scenarios where we are talking to people maybe from all the different levels, right, from C-suite to maybe, analysts, it becomes even more critical that, we foresee what the challenges are. And I think that makes a good leader as well. Like as you're growing up, growing through your career, I've seen that like good leaders often have that ability to sense when things might go wrong, and risk management, right? Ultimately, it's risk management. So I think that's very critical. Yeah.
So really, really great insights. In terms of the program here, you highlighted so many of those qualities really make the difference, right? So it's not just theory. It's not just, yes, obviously we need to, there is something like these skills are so essential, and these experiences, like that's how it actually makes a difference when you work with customers. How you see those skills also nurtured here in the program, even from that experience we had so far, which is again not the full program yet, but how you see that comes to life in terms of our own experiences here.
No, I think one of the things that I really like about the program is just the diversity of not just the industry and the domains, but even culturally, right? Like it's such a culturally rich program, and just very fortunate to hear from everybody, right? Like, because everybody brings these different skill sets. And I think one of the things I'm very consciously learning as part of the program, whether it's through our leadership coaching or whether it's through our courses, whether it's operational processes, financial accounting, or, there's so many other good courses that we're learning, is being a conscious leader. I was initially, before joining the program, I thought, I want to be maybe leading by example is one thing, but being a conscious leader, that is something we need in today's world. And that really came from a lot of these learnings that I've been having from people, right? Like being culturally aware of, all the different people that exist, right? Just the different ideas that people bring in. And then I'm able to actually appreciate that a lot more being at Sloan, that, you basically, everybody has a voice, everybody brings their own unique skill sets, and everybody should be speaking up, right, when they need to. So whether it's elective, I just took basically the discovering your leadership signature, just the way how you tell your story, how you want to build your brand. I think fantastic courses. And then obviously the biggest, I think what we have with us is each other, right? Like the classmates themselves bring so much value to the program that, just having a general coffee chat with somebody, I'm learning something new, right? And that is something I totally cherish, right? So, and that's a huge, I think, thanks to PwC for giving me the opportunity, and then obviously to MIT Sloan for giving me this grand, opportunity to just speak to so many people and learn so much from each other. So, yeah, really fortunate for that opportunity. Yeah.
And as part of that rich experience, of course, thank you so much for contributing to that experience. You bring so much into the program.
Yeah.
So just, if you think about MBAs in the program, young MBAs, mid-career, or leaders who are, watching us, viewing this episode, what will be the key takeaway you would like them to, really this is one key focus area you might want to really work on in order to really build yourself in a way that you will have this ability to be a principled and innovative leader.
Yeah.
As we are saying here at Sloan, what will be that key insight, key takeaway that you would like them to?
I don't know if I'm, thank you for even thinking that I'll be able to give such, insights to young MBAs and people like, other leaders, because I have so much to learn from so many people, right? So, but if there's something, if I have to share, is definitely, the principled and the innovative leadership. I mean, the words are very intentionally chosen, right? Like, and I like to focus on the word principled, because part of the job that I do brings in that innovation, that the engineer in me is always looking for unique and innovative solutions. But the part I'm really focused now is principled, right? Because that is what is, I feel, in today's world so necessary, especially, making sure that, we live in such a diverse world, culturally diverse world. Just being able to give that opportunity to so many other people, and we are fortunate enough to be in positions where we are able to empower other people, or our juniors and our peers. So I think let's not forget the fact that being principled in today's world takes a lot of courage. And I think if all of us thought the same way, I'm sure the world will be a much better place. So that's the one area whoever I talk to, I tell them, yeah, that's not just the MIT motto. So I tell my spirit animal, actually I would tell it was either a dragon or a lion before, but now I say it's beaver, right? Because it's the MIT mascot. And there's a reason behind it, right? It's that beaver is an engineer, and then obviously there's the whole slogan of MIT that I truly now I've begun to respect and appreciate it. So I think, conscious leadership that I spoke about some time back, I think that's very critical in today's world.
Such a great summary. I'm sure that people will appreciate to hear about
Thank you.
About that, and the way you kind of intertwined the mission of Sloan, right, and our own experiences into something that is so powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this interview. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Igal, and nice talking to you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.